Every year, thousands of students travel to new universities all over the world. They cross borders, cultures, and continents looking for new experiences abroad. For many, this is a dream come true. But is studying abroad really as glamorous as it seems? Many students suffer from cultural shock and homesickness in their new environments. We sat down with some of these students to find out how they were coping with these changes in lifestyle.
My name is Aiden Ross. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I go to school at the University of Texas at Austin, and I've been in Madrid since late August of this year.
I am Eva, I'm from the Netherlands and I'm 20 years old and I've been living in Spain for 2 months already.
Hi, my name is Farah. I am 21 years old. I'm from Queens, New York, and I have been in Spain for about 2 months now.
Cultural shock has 4 stages: honeymoon, frustration, adjustment, and acceptance. The honeymoon stage is where you're excited for everything, like the language, people, food, and places you go. The next stage is frustration, which is the most difficult one, because you have trouble understanding gestures, language, and making your way through your new surroundings. Small things seem amplified by the unfamiliarity of the situation. This stage also coincides with bouts of depression and homesickness. The third stage is adjustment. This is where your understanding of the new culture gets to the point where small problems don't bother you anymore. At this stage, you create a support system for yourself. The final stage is acceptance. This doesn't mean that you completely understand the new culture and environment, but you've accepted your surroundings, so you're still able to succeed in the new country. We asked each student where they were.
I think I'm probably in the third stage of culture shock. I've studied abroad before. I studied abroad in Italy last summer, and that experience made it where I think I maybe in Madrid jumped the first 2 steps. I kind of knew what I was getting into. Also, I was less frustrated here than I've been in other places because I speak a lot more Spanish than I speak Italian or any of the other countries I've been in. So the language barrier was like less in here. So I appreciated that the entire time I've been here. Like obviously everyday tasks here are like tough sometimes just because there's like a language barrier. I don't know exactly what to say, but it doesn't really frustrate me. I've acclimated pretty well. I mean, I miss home a little bit sometimes. But I think I could stay here for much longer than I'm gonna be staying here, and I would be happy here. So I think I'm acclimated well. I'm adjusting well. I mean, I'm not perfect, you know. My Spanish still isn't perfect, but I'm getting there. Yeah, I mean, here the first few weeks were great. I mean, I think the honeymoon phase when you're studying abroad is it's a honeymoon because you have a honeymoon with the place. There's a more bitter note to it because you don't have your friends from home. You're trying to find your path. You're trying to make friends. So yeah, I love the city. When I first got here, I remember walking to my apartment here in Lavapiés, best neighborhood of Madrid, and I remember being shocked by the beauty of the neighborhood and the vibrancy of the street. The street life is awesome. But on the other hand, what you have along with the honeymoon phase is you have a really interesting period where, you know, you're kind of floating in the wind alone. You don't have friends. You don't know people very well. So you got to kind of try to make connections, which is always exciting, but also isolating.
I think I'm in the 4th stage. I have some experience already with living abroad or living in Spain specifically. So I think I've gotten a bit more used to it. Of course, there's like problems, certain experiences that have bothered me or were like more difficult because I was living abroad, but I think I've mostly accepted it. I think generally like the first month or the first few weeks when you start living abroad, that's I mean, it can be difficult as well, but also you're excited to move to another country, like experience new things, and yeah, I think the first few weeks or month.
I think that I'm in the 3rd stage because there are definitely some cultural differences that I have noticed that are very much different than the US. But I think that over the last couple of weeks, I've been able to really understand like why those differences exist here and like develop more of a educated feeling about them. So I like to run a lot. And I find that there are a lot of times where like I'll be walking maybe to school or like running, and the people who are just walking in the street have no concept of the space around them. Many times they'll just stop in the middle of whatever crosswalk they're in, and they just will be like so focused on what they're doing rather than like being aware of their surroundings. And I think that part of this is because I'm from New York and I grew up in such a big city where you always are told to be aware of your surroundings and like almost hyper aware because you never want to find yourself in a situation where you might feel vulnerable. So I think that that is the biggest thing here, but I think also in Spain it's a little bit more lax. So that kind of helps me understand why that cultural difference exists.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of times I felt frustrated here. First of all, Spaniards walk way too slow on average. I think most Americans who study abroad here will tell you that. They'll say you Americans are too much of a rush. Maybe so, but sometimes you got a place to go, you don't want to miss a class, you don't want to miss a train, etc. Spaniards walk slow.
Despite the hardships, studying abroad is an amazing opportunity to travel, meet new people, and live day to day in a new country. Although cultural shock can be challenging, the challenge is well worth the reward of lifelong friends and memories.